Good day, guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Adamu Badmos, and we shall be continuing our series on Python and Selenium. In this particular video, we will be looking at page object modeling. In the first part of it, I will want to make it a bit, how do I put it? I want to make it as short as possible, so I will try and I will try to make that happen. So in this part of the page object modeling, which I want to divide into some parts, we will be talking about how you can create how you can begin your single entry point. And what do I mean by that? Looking at our code, we have you can see that we have our URLs, we have our element locator all within the code. So this means that, let's say if I had used, and some of them I used more than once, let's say things had to change and I had to reuse them and I had to change them. It means, what this means, that I have to go to everywhere the particular element locator has occurred, and I will keep changing, and that would probably take my time. But what if I can create a space where I can store all these elements and reference them in my code, such that if the value of the element changes, I just go to where it is stored, change the value of the element, and the reference keeps working as if nothing has happened. That makes sense, right? It means that it will be easier for me to make modifications to my code when there is a need for that. In the practical sense, you could have the situation where because of the deployment from the developer, the element has changed. So instead of you looking through your code to see where it has changed, you can just go to the place where you stored all your elements, and you can just change it there once and for all. In a Senna climb, you could be able to reuse your elements when they are actually done properly. But that being said, let us just use this method. So I can go ahead and I can use another Python package if I want to. Yeah, let me use another Python package, and let me just name it data elements, right? And inside it, I create a file called, let me call that an element, let me just call it element mapper. We use element mapper, right? Excuse me, let me quickly rename the, let me refactor this and rename it and use snake case to just maintain conformity. So now in the element mapper, how I want to store my elements is entirely up to me. And I could just come here and start writing variables in it. Call this one URL, for instance. If I say this is URL and I pick the value of URL here, if I pick the value of URL here and I put this here, I've already done that. So I can import this into my code. Let's just quickly test that. I can import this into my code and say from data element in the file element mapper. You understand? So I can say, sorry, I made a mistake. From this, I should import element mapper. Let me correct that. I should import element mapper. So it means I've imported that file and I can use it as I want. So I can come here and say get element mapper dot, the URL will show. So it will be representing the URL here. So that means that if the URL changes or something changes, I can just come here and change it. I don't need to be looking for it in my code. Does that, yeah? So I can equally say in my element mapper, I can equally create a class instead. I can call this maybe class. I can give it a class name. You know, we've talked about class in the previous videos. So I can call this maybe home page, for instance, right? And put this there. Nothing fancy. So it means inside here, instead of having to import element mapper, I would have to import the folder, the element mapper, and inside the element mapper, I import the class. Now, what difference does this make? If I don't use a class, I can just put all the variables here and it is easy. quite right. But if I want to have an arrangement of all these elements, I can start to put them in a class. I can equally have another class, and I'll call it maybe class shop page, where I'm shopping, right? And I could put things here. So in the shop page, let me just pass because I'm not writing anything yet. So in the shop page, so this one will not be home page element mapper anymore. I will just change this one to home page.url. So it will be referencing the value under the home page. Okay. So that being said, so let's just do this too. Let's say this is, for instance, I'm just doing as an instance. Let's say this is for the shop page, right? And I say men's something. It's an example, men's something, and I put this here. So how do I now also bring this class in? I can either put it this way and put shop page on the side, right? And probably just call shop page here, shop page, and I'll call it here, and I will call the men's something in it, right? Or if I have more classes, so what I've done here is the element selectors, everything I used on the home page is on one side. Everything I used while shopping, while adding to cart is on another side. The things that we use for the payment details is on another class. So that means that if anything, if I need to change any element, I know which particular class that element is stored. So I'll just change it from there. And I will not need to be looking through the whole thing. So you can decide to pick the one that is suitable for you. You can just create a simple file, put everything inside it, or you create a file, then put all the things under different classes so you know where the particular selector belongs to. So for this class, for this video, I will be using this. I'll be using the class type. So what I would also want to also say here is, let's say we have a third class. We don't even need to talk about the third class yet, but instead of having this, let's say we have so many classes, instead of having this and be putting them all in a bracket, we could just represent it by an asterisk. So it will import all the classes. As you can see, nothing has failed, so which means everything remains the same. So I'll go ahead and pause this video because it's going to be a long thing if I want to go through all our 58 lines of codes to change everything. So I will pause the video and I will try to change everything, then I'll start the video again so we'll have a short video to work with. So I have finished doing all of this, and this is what it looks like in the element mapper. I have created several classes, and one handles what happens on the home page. Means when we get to the site, we log in into, we launch the URL, and we over on the men's tab, and we also over on the men's top, then we click the men's hoodie section. So once we've done that, we wait for the page indexer because we are going to the next page where we begin the whole shop process. So I call that the shop page. So this is what I've done so far, and so it's the moment of truth. Let's try to run it and see if it will work with that way. One other thing I did was, because this looks too long, you see, it's very long, and to make it look more readable and neater, so I just added enter. I hit the enter button to make it to come to bring it down a bit, and this one is even longer. I did the same thing in this place, so it doesn't change your code, it just makes it a bit looks more readable and makes it a bit more compact to the eye. So that being said, let's just try to run the code and see what happens. As you can see, everything ran successfully. So that way we have started creating like a point of entry into into our script, and this brings us to the end of this video. While in the next video we will be breaking down all these classes or all these scripts into into a single class file, because we just want to put it as a single class for now. But we will break them in. So when we create a class file, of course we'll have some methods inside it, so we would use those methods, right? We use those methods to run the script and see. And so it means that once we've executed, once we've been able to run this as a class, we can now create an extra directory where we can say we are running our tests. So we have some simple files that will run the test for us, but the old runner file is working in the resources folder. So that brings us to the end of this video. Please, if you've gotten this far, please do not forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.